We are back again on the 3 a.m. Coney, and the only thing that we are going to talk about for 10 to 45 minutes is
That's
is
usually how these go.
is Joe Burrow the NFL MVP? And if you ask Lucas, he's going to say yes. If you ask me, I'm going to say fuck yes. And if you asked any of us for the past year as we've been doing this show, that's pretty much, we knew that there was no ceiling. And this isn't even the ceiling for Joe Burrow. NFL MVP is not even close. Bengals are going to the playoffs. Joe Burrow has shown that he is an elite quarterback in this league in his first full year. And people are starting to notice.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the MVP conversation. The MVP conversation is like politics. It's a narrative. It's a storyline. And especially with the popularization of Vegas odds, people don't want to look dumb. So sports writers, when they're busy, they're writing a lot of articles. They can't exactly do a bunch of research all the time about every single player all the time. They just go look at the Vegas odds. Oh, Rodgers is first. Yeah, Rodgers is the favorite. And Rodgers has not done anything to lose the favorite spot in their eyes. So it's a lot like politics in that way, where you can have a late push, a campaign, a narrative switch, a narrative swing, and you can win the vote. It's not a statistical award. And the thing about Joe Burrow MVP that really upsets me is I blame NBC, because Joe Burrow would be the MVP favorite right now if he had played on Sunday Night Football a couple of times during his hot streak, when he looks incredible.
Absolutely.
He looks amazing. Because then, how many times was Aaron Rodgers on Sunday Night Football and they were like, MVP, 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 MVP? And what happened?
He's beating the Bears, and then you got Joe Burrow doing that to the Chiefs.
What if Joe Burrow drops 525 yards against the Ravens on Sunday Night Football? What if he does that, right? What if that, the Chiefs game got 18 million viewers, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand these NBC executives. It's the most, there's people that need to be fired at some of these networks for the decisions they made on the Bengals. And I'm not just saying that as a Bengals fan. One of my specializations was live sports production, right? Looking at TV ratings and trying to figure out. The Bengals got an amazing number, one of the best Thursday Night Football numbers ever early in the season.
Oh, yeah.
But all the executive idiots, they didn't think it was Joe Burrow. They were like, oh, it's probably Trevor Lawrence. So no Bengals, no Bengals, no Bengals. And then Joe Burrow breaks the TV record with 18.8 million viewers on a Sunday 1 p.m. game. Are you kidding me? That beat the NBA Finals for the last 3 years. 18.8 million viewers. And it just is, it blows my mind that you have a number one overall pick, Heisman winner, that is playing for his home team in his home state, and the NFL didn't deem that enough of a storyline to even give them any 4 p.m. games to open the season. And only the obligatory Thursday night game. They would not have given him that Thursday night game if it weren't written in the contract that every team has to play one. They were ready to bury the Bengals, forget about the Bengals, and it's so stupid. You got a guy that drips with swag, that's super popular, that blows up on TikTok and Twitter, and the fan base is rabid, and they just missed. It's the biggest miss from television executives in a very long time. If they don't miss there, and they include Joe Burrow in the beginning narrative of the season, he is certainly the MVP. No doubt no doubt MVP in my mind.
Yeah, and it didn't even make the Pro Bowl. That has to be one of the biggest Pro Bowl snubs that I've ever seen. That he is breaking records and he is having this unbelievable season, one of the favorites for comeback player of the year and MVP, and doesn't make the Pro Bowl either? Another voting issue.
Pro Bowl sucks anyway, but whatever. The thing about the MVP award is I understand that Rodgers' numbers are good, but Rodgers' numbers aren't as good as they were last year, and he didn't win unanimous a year ago. Allen and Mahomes got votes, and Burrow has a better year than Allen Mahomes had last year. And when you look at the circumstances, it's a storyline award. If the NFL were paying attention, they would have noticed that the Cincinnati Bengals were the only team in the NFL to have 100% participation during OTAs. Only team in the NFL. Well, why? Why did that happen? Zach Taylor? No, Joe Burrow. And he was there on the first day of OTAs on a torn ACL, moving, throwing, showing to the media, hey, I'm back. We're ready to go. We're ready to roll. And he won the AFC North with 34 touchdowns, only one less than Aaron, 3 rating points lower than Aaron. That's just because Aaron never throws it downfield, so he never gets interceptions. He's got a higher completion percentage. He's got more total yards, more yards per game, more yards per attempt. If you look at the advanced number, he's got a higher adjusted completion percentage, a higher accuracy on deep balls down the field, higher accuracy in the intermediate portions of the field.
And this is all while getting sacked 51 times.
51 times. And we posted that stat on the Coney, Matt, a couple times already. He is the only quarterback, well, only one of 3 quarterbacks in NFL history to have a 105 rating while being sacked 50 times. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow. They've all done it once. Rodgers and Wilson were in the middle of their career. Rodgers was like on his 3rd contract after his Super Bowl. Russell Wilson was almost 30 when he did this. Joe Burrow is 25. Joe Burrow is coming off of a reconstructed ACL, MCL injury, and he's doing it, which I know we're a Bengals podcast, but if you heard any of our podcasts before, he's doing it on the Cincinnati Bengals, okay? It is a nightmarish organization. Ask any fan of it, and he's turned the entire thing around. He's changed the way that people in an area of the country feel about themselves. He's changed people's relationship with their children in the state of Ohio. I'm serious. Like, the amount that Joe Burrow has changed in the 5-1-3, and anybody that's connected to the Cincinnati Bengals has to be considered in the MVP conversation. Has to be considered because it's not a statistical award. It's not, it never has been. It's a storyline award. And I think it's unfair that because the NFL deemed back in July that Joe Burrow wasn't a storyline this year, that now he doesn't get to win MVP because they never saw it coming. Like, he gets punished because y'all were idiots? He gets punished because y'all missed? He gets punished because you guys put him at 26th on your quarterback rankings before the year? That's what he gets punished for? That's what I don't like about this conversation, is that when you throw Joe Burrow in the mix, even though he's an unbelievably legitimate candidate by every metric, it's almost laughed off by half the media at this point. But this is why you and I, Matt, got to scream from the rooftops, because it's a political award. That means we can make the argument. We can get people on our side. We can scream. I want every Coney fan out there to tweet to every writer you know that Joe Burrow is the MVP. Share the stats over and over again. Yards per attempt. Make the argument. Push, 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 push. Because I got $1,500 riding on it from my free.
Oh, do you?
So make sure you do that, okay?
Okay, so Lukas can keep his house. Everyone go do that. But
well, no, I could win $1,500 on like a $30 bet.
Okay, that's not bad.
Which would pay for my honeymoon, which would be very nice for everybody to do for me. So go make the argument, Joe Burrow MVP, please and thank you.
There you go. And I mean, you absolutely nailed it. That Joe Burrow was not the story this entire year, but the fact that he was so undervalued, so low in these quarterback rankings, along with the Cincinnati Bengals as a whole, and what he has done and what this team has done because of him shows that he just deserves it even more. And he has gotten that giant boost in both comeback and MVP with the past 2 weeks and what he's done. And it almost hurts him that the Bengals have already clinched the playoffs and he can't go. He's not going to play another week and continue to pad those stats and continue to maybe throw up another 450-yard game, which we know that he could do. And would that be the only thing that could help him to, go above Aaron Rodgers in the MVP race? But is it even worth it? That's not worth it. When we're trying to go to the playoffs, win a playoff game for the first time in 31 years. And like he said, he said, if we win the division, we can take it all.
Yeah. And that's why we love Joe Burrow. He's about winning, right? That's the difference between Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers. You know why Aaron Rodgers doesn't have more interceptions? Because he really cares about how many interceptions he throws. And this is the only thing that I can guarantee is the difference between Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers. I can guarantee this. I've never met Aaron Rodgers. I've never personally met Joe Burrow. I've certainly been told enough about Joe Burrow and have been around many people that know Joe Burrow. I promise you that the only difference between them that I can guarantee is Aaron Rodgers really, really, really cares about throwing interceptions. He cares about throwing interceptions even when they're down when they're down 21. He cares about whether he throws an interception or not. When the game is, maybe they're down 10 and it's late and they're pushing, he cares about throwing interceptions. I'll give you a great example. In the Chargers game, Bengals go down 2 scores because Joe Mixon drops the football. Joe's driving down the field again. They get into the red zone and Joe Burrow throws that red zone pick. That wasn't a bad decision. He thought he could layer the ball over the safety, an incredibly difficult throw, a throw that's like a 3% chance, and if you don't make it, it will be intercepted. But it was third down in the red zone, down 2 scores, fourth quarter, so he said, F it, I'm going to try it. Aaron Rodgers never does that. Ever, 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 ever. Unless the game is literally on the line, that's when he starts trying the tight window throws. That's when he starts risking interceptions because Aaron Rodgers cares about his legacy. Aaron Rodgers cares about MVP awards, and he knows that interception number is what's going to win him this award. His lack of attempts down the field is what's going to win him the award. His lack of attempts into tight windows is what will win him this award. And to me, if we're going to give out awards because guys don't want to try to make a 16-point comeback by throwing the ball all over the field and chucking it and saying, F it, I can get it in there, that's a lame award then. That's a lame award. So if we're just going to do touchdown to interception ratio for the rest of time, then, it's just a lame way to play football. Tua doesn't throw a lot of picks. Why isn't he the MVP? Right? Tua doesn't throw a lot of picks. And then you can go, the record of the Packers. Yeah, the Bengals would have won 14 games if they played in the NFC North too and had that soft cupcake schedule that the Packers had all year.
The Bengals should have beaten the Packers.
Yeah, they had the Packers dead to rights. And, that's one of those interceptions that Joe was trying to make an option route in a tight window, and Tyler Boyd went this way, and he thought he was going that way, and it threw it right to a linebacker. And it's, but if the only argument you're going to hold on to about whether Joe Burrow should be MVP or not, because leadership's not there, storyline's not there, the comebackness of it's not there, the yards per attempt, the touchdowns, the yards, just raw yards, the passer rating is almost identical. And then all the advanced numbers favor Joe Burrow as well. Even expected points added, which is like the nerdiest of nerdy numbers. Joe Burrow is
I saw that chart and I loved it. I was like, with what he's doing, that is MVP. That is Joe Burrow in the game making these plays.
Yes. And
giving them is taking the spread, taking the Bengals, and giving them that much of an advantage in the game. And
he even has that lead with a -11 expected points added play on his record because of that 99-yard pick six against Cleveland with Denzel Ward. And
I forgot about that until just now.
If you're going to punish Joe Burrow for missing by a foot when he's trying to fit in the middle, he missed that throw by a foot. A foot. He missed it by a foot. So were we going to take the MVP away because he missed a throw by a foot? And if the only argument you can come at me is, well, the Packers have a better record and Aaron Rodgers has less interceptions. That's lame, dude. That's really lame. That's really, really lame. And the MVP award's not supposed to be lame. Plus, Rodgers won it last year. We're supposed to kind of think about the storyline. That's what these awards are. And all of a sudden, when a Bengals player gets involved, now it's a statistical award. Can't win MVP throwing 14 interceptions. Even though Joe Burrow only has 15 turnover-worthy plays, less than Aaron Rodgers. Oh, it's crazy.
So, if Rodgers is kind of the present, but more the past, and Joe Burrow is the future, at what point does it shift? How many more years, how many more seasons does Aaron Rodgers have in him? Where is this kind of a, here's your last MVP, A-Rod, as you horse tranquilize yourself into the sunset, and then Joe Burrow is going to take over for the next decade?
Yeah, I think Joe's going to win, I would say minimum 2 MVP awards, at least. I think he's the betting favorite. I would put him at like -300 right now to win the next year's MVP. Because look at the circumstance the Bengals sit in heading into next year. They have $70 million of cap space. The only significant pieces they're losing on offense is CJ Uzama and a couple offensive linemen that Riley Reif's important, but he's not an elite player. Like, you're not losing any of your core from the Cincinnati Bengals, so they have a chance to have a better record. And Joe Burrow is going to take another leap. That's the thing, guys. It's just going to keep getting better. He's just going to keep. I don't know if statistically he can get much better, but I think he can. I think Joe Burrow's got a 50 touchdown, 5 interception season in him. I think he's certainly capable of that. I think he's certainly capable of breaking every record the NFL has ever set, because there's no way any human could have ever watched the last 2 games and dare come on this and say there's no way that could happen. That we've at least reached that point, Matt. And when we'll talk about the barometer and where the national media is at, They have now understood that anything is possible with Joe Burrow. He can do anything. If you ask any media member that watches the NFL and covers it, can Joe Burrow win a Super Bowl? Yes. Can he win a Super Bowl MVP? Yes. Can he win an MVP? Yes. Can he be all pro? Yes. Can he be a Hall of Famer? Yes. So if all that's possible, then everything's possible.
And Joe Burrow has not played a full season in the NFL yet.
Nope. Well,
I mean, I guess if you count it at 17 games and missing the last one, but you mentioned the barometer. We've been super high off the charts with him. Media's been creeping up a little bit. They've kind of been a little more week to week. Where if the Bengals lose, it's not necessarily been on Joe Burrow, but it's the Bengals. You know, what can you do? But now you have Colin Coward talking about how Joe Burrow should win the MVP over Aaron Rodgers. You have Collinsworth. Yep. Collinsworth talking about how he's one of the best quarterbacks that he's seen. I mean, the media's catching up.
Yeah, because you know why? They're watching. That's the thing, guys, is that everybody says, these national media guys, oh, man, I would give away this apartment if they could prove to me they watched every second of every game. And in fact, most of them in our podcast world, in our honesty world, have finally admitted, I'm flipping between games. I'm doing my best. It's a lot of football. Nobody can watch all the games other than like guys who only break down tape and they don't have to write an article. They just got to do a TV hit. Like maybe they watch all the games. And that's the problem with this, man, is that you want to talk about the interceptions, go watch the games. Go watch the games. I think Joe Burrow has played incredible play-to-play football all season long, and he's done most of it. He hasn't even been healthy until the end of the year. We haven't even mentioned, what are we, 20 minutes into this thing? The dude's going to have surgery on his pinky after the year. He's probably going to have surgery on his pinky after the year. He's got to put a glove on the sideline to limit pain, and he's not talking about it. Where Baker Mayfield, every time he'd make a bad throw, you'd see him get up and go, oh, my shoulder hurts. And then you'd make a great throw, and he'd be like, I'm Baker Mayfield.
It feels good. It feels good again.
That's what he would do. And I'm like, oh, my God, I hate this guy. And it's like,
I mean, Burrow, after hurting his pinky, has thrown better. He's thrown for more yards.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that is Zach Taylor just kind of letting him cook, where Zach Taylor is not trying to control the game. He's trying to give a little bit of structure and let Joe Burrow do his thing. And that has shown. That has been one of the biggest improvements that we've seen over the past 2 weeks, is there aren't these absolutely boneheaded play calls that just kill drives. We see that Joe Burrow is able to make some of these plays. He is calling the play, or he's understanding it enough and knows his options, and he's finding the open player.
And we're forgetting, by the way, guys, Joe Burrow didn't play 3 fourth quarters this year because they were up by so much. The Ravens, the first time, the Lions, and the Steelers game that I was at. So you got 3 games where Joe Burrow literally sits out a quarter with his baseball hat on the sideline because he kicks so much ass, right? So where's that number? You know, it doesn't matter though, Matt, because he's just going to keep kicking ass. So like, we're just going to end up being right. And, whether, we're going to talk about the playoffs next week. I don't even want to get into it, but
no, we are out of time. Anything else you want to add before I stop this?
My ask to you is, would it be worth getting trounced by the Browns like 45-0 and they look absolutely dreadful for Joe Burrow to win MVP? Because if they go out and Brandon Allen can't tie his left shoe and the Browns with their practice squad just kicks the crap out of us, I think that makes the national media go, wait a minute. Is this the worst team in the league? And Joe Burrow's just the best player in the league? Like,
I think that can happen. I think that can happen. It's a nothing game for us, and for the Browns, it's just pride. So that can absolutely happen.
But if that happens, this team won't win the Super Bowl. This team needs momentum. It needs to feel good. It needs to be loose. It needs to be cut. So pick your poison, guys. I don't think 51 sack offensive line is winning a Super Bowl anyway, unless Joe Burrow literally has like a Joe Flacco level run which he's certainly capable of. But Joe Flacco had a great line during that run. I mean, this would be one of the great playoff runs of all time if he's able to pull it off behind this line. So I don't know.
I am just rooting for one playoff win.
I'm
one playoff win. He has already started to break the curse and knock off some of these things. Sweep the Steelers, beat the Steelers at Heinz Field, sweep the Ravens. I mean, it's next up, win a playoff game.
But I don't want to blame the curse this year if they lose in the first round. Okay, Bill Belichick might come in, have a great game plan. They win on a last-second field goal. We can't freak out.
It's all right. It is 31 years. It is, as far as curses go, the curse has been, riding some momentum for a while. So this is we gotta tire the curse down. We gotta beat it down into submission, and then we finally take the top.
Yeah, and listen, guys, I just we'll have that therapy session next week, okay? Because everybody's gonna need it. We're gonna need to prepare because it's a football game and anything can happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't like this. I just have a feeling that there's so many Bengals fans out there that if they lose this playoff game, will immediately revert back to where they were heading into the bye week after the loss to the Browns. And I think that would be ridiculous and uncalled for. But we'll dive into that next week when we know who we're playing.
Yeah. Yeah, once we find out who we're playing, we'll have to talk about all of the scenarios and everything that the Bengals have to do to win that game. All right.
Is this a fun week? Nothing to worry about.
It's not stressful at all, right?
Brush it off. We'll see. If you want to win Cleveland, go ahead. I don't know who he is. Might win us the MVP.
Yeah. Then we'll take the MVP. You take this game. No one will ever remember you. All right. Until next week.
See you guys.